Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So there's been some pretty big things going on this week in gaming. So to start off the week, we basically got it confirmed when Mass Effect, the Legendary Edition, which is the remaster of the Mass Effect trilogy, when that is going to come out. That's going to be coming out May 14th for anybody who's interested in that, like I am. It's probably my favorite RPG series of all time, easily my favorite sci-fi game. Like if you exclude the IPs that are associated with Star Wars, it's easily my favorite sci-fi series, hands down. The problem is there's so much to do with Star Wars. You've got Star Wars Battlefront 2, you've got the original, obviously. Then you've got the remakes, like the one that came out from EA, Star Wars Battlefront 2. I love the Starfighter mode in that game. I spent hours on it just annihilating people. And then you got Star Wars The Old Republic, which I feel like is a good successor to KOTOR, but when it first launched, it definitely wasn't. At the state it's in now, it really is, because it's basically a single-player game. But that's beyond the point. So the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is basically promising, at least in my opinion, to be a down-to-earth, true-to-life remaster of the experience. And when I say things like that, I really mean it looks like it's going to be the same series, but better. And when I say better, here's what I mean. Mass Effect 1 was always the outlier out of the three games. It was always the one that was just a little bit off. It was just, there's different mechanics for combat, different mechanics for looting, different mechanics for unlocking and opening stuff. And it was basically the first iteration of what they thought Mass Effect should be. The perfect system for Mass Effect didn't arrive until Mass Effect 2, where you have combat that requires you to take cover, your abilities and your allies' abilities put onto the power wheel was much more convenient. You could actually activate them in the middle of a fight by actually commanding them to do it. There's just so many things that made Mass Effect 2 a better version than Mass Effect 1. Not to mention, Mass Effect 1 came out in 2007. The graphics are dated, the combat is dated, the models could, like, the black blob glitch, as I've heard it be referred to recently, was a thing. Like, my character turned into a black blob for the last 5 hours of my playthrough. And it happened, it spread from me to all of my companions. So it's just 3 black blobs walking around talking to Virgil on Ilos. Or Vigil on Ilos. Yeah, it's Vigil. Anyway, it wasn't a good experience after a while. It's like, it definitely was the outlier out of the 3, because Mass Effect 3 holds up pretty well. I mean, Mass Effect 2 still has a few things here and there, but you could tell that there was limitations in the technology at the time when they were creating a bunch of the things. And so I kind of just want to watch this trailer really quick, just sort of sum it all up in this one little bit, and hopefully you guys enjoy this, and you have a great day watching it, because I know for me, the second that they announced that this game was going to be coming out on May 14th, I just got hyped, man. I'm so excited to play a game like this again, because Mass Effect is, like I said, my favorite sci-fi game, favorite RPG series, hands down. The reason I can say favorite series is Skyrim is technically my favorite RPG, but there's only one Skyrim. I'm not going back to play Oblivion because those graphics look horribly dated. I'll wait till Sky Oblivion comes out and then I'll give it a shot. So, without further ado, why don't we continue and watch this Mass Effect trailer in 4K. I think that's the Normandy right before it gets destroyed by the Collectors. That's Omega. I'm just gonna be naming out all this shit because I'm hyped, man. I'm so hyped for this. Oh, man. Citadel, above Earth. Oof. You getting it remastered. That's the Citadel DLC. That was easily the best DLC in the game. Normandy going to the Serpent's Nebula for the first time. Crucible docking with the Citadel above Earth in order to fire off the pulse. Wipe out the Reapers. That's Sovereign, that's Ashley, that's Javik, Marines, Liara, Collectors, Garrus, Kasumi, Sovereign again. That was Omega, that was Arya Talok, Normandy SR2, that guy's Harbinger, that's Earth, actually Vancouver being destroyed, that's Tally, that's Fem Shep, you got Grunt, Legion, Jack, oh my god, Thane, Shep, oh, Shep killing, who's that, Kai Lang, oh man, Rex, Samara, Morden, Jacob, James, oh, we get the DLC too, the Leviathans, oh man, Elusive Man, oh man, Thresher Maw, Kyle Ross, Zaid Masani. Who's the original bad guy? Saren. There we go. Oh, man. I cannot express to everybody how incredibly hyped I am. And there's another Mass Effect coming on the way. They've confirmed that. Like, they've rebooted this series. I am so happy about the reboot. I'm in such a good mood right now. Like, everything is going perfect, to be honest. Like, in my opinion, I don't think there could be anything better going on as far as gaming right now. Because Mass Effect is a series that I've always wanted them to go back and remaster, but there's another thing that I want to draw everybody's attention to. I know I made a video on this, and it's easily become the most popular video on my channel, but I just wanted to go back and visit it in my roundup of weekly news. I'm not going to call it a weekly roundup. I'm sure there's other people. In fact, I know there's other YouTube people who have that as their thing. So you know what? We're going to call it Weekly Review in Gaming. How about that? That's what we'll call it. That's just a working title. If you could come up with something better, drop it in the comments. Seriously. This is a partnership here. Help me grow the community by not sounding like an idiot when I come up with these ideas, alright? So, everybody knows who was a fan of Total War, that Total War Warhammer was just the first entry in the series. There was meant to be a series of 3 games. It's meant to be a trilogy. There's Total War Warhammer, Total War Warhammer 2, and we've been playing Total War Warhammer 2 since, I believe, 2017. So it's been 4 years without a release of Total War Warhammer 3. And now we have finally gotten the announcement that it's going to be coming out this year in 2021, which is massive, massive news. It's the final puzzle piece we need, and it can kind of put to bed a lot of the speculation that everybody has had about these games. Because when the first one came out, there wasn't any Skaven, there wasn't Lizardmen, there wasn't Dark Elves or High Elves. The only 4 races that you started with were the Vampire Counts, Greenskins, Dwarves, and the Empire. And it was a pretty sparse game for a while. I mean, there was other types of factions in there, but there weren't the Beastmen who roved around. There weren't the Wood Elves. Like, Athel Loren was literally just a forest you couldn't walk into. Like, there weren't any Wood Elves. Norska wasn't a thing yet. I mean, there were the Norscan Raiders. Like, there was different Norska factions, but you didn't get the World Walkers that are essentially Wolfric, and you didn't get the, I forget what Throg's faction's called. But those factions didn't exist in the game. So as the game has progressed through the years, there's been a steady influx of different factions, different characters, different playstyles within different races. So like, say, if you're the Empire, certain mechanics might be different between Karl Franz, Balthazar Gelt, and the Hunts Marshal, whatever that dude's name is. I mean, if you look at the Lizardmen, they added the Lizardmen, and for the longest time, there wasn't a Horde faction of Lizardmen. Then they come out with Nakai the Wanderer. In the same DLC, I believe they add... Did they add Croak? I think they added Croak in the same DLC as Nakai, and Gorok was the free LC. Or was Tic-Tac... No, Tic-Tac-Toe must have been the free LC. I think Gorok and Tic-Tac-Toe were free LC. Anyway, that's besides the point. They've populated the world with all of these different factions, and every different faction essentially comes with a different playstyle. And so what I'm really excited about is the potential for new factions to enter and have different playstyles. So right now, the game is missing some pretty big, minor factions, if that makes any sense. I don't know much about Warhammer Fantasy, but the way I would describe it is you've got Araby missing, you've got Amazonians missing. So there's basically everything to the east of the World's Edge or World's Spine Mountains. I can't remember. No, Sotek Spine is over in Lustria, so it's I'll call them World's Edge. I think that's the right set of mountain ranges. It's the ones that the Dwarfs and the Greenskins start in. So basically, you've had factions that have interacted with factions further to the east, like Snitch's clan. I forget what they're called off the top of my head, but Deathmaster Snitch. His faction of Skaven is heavily influenced, I believe, by Cathay, because they went over into Cathayan territory, and that's where they started to become ninjas and assassins. And so that's what makes them the most feared assassins, is the fact that they've actually gotten some of those skills from that part of the world. And so we have recently confirmed that we're going to be getting Cathay, Kislev, and the Chaos factions as playable factions. On top of that, this opens up incredible potential, because if we're looking at that side of the world, we might actually get some replacements of lords, legendary lords that we've had. Like, it would make more sense, in my opinion, if Lokir Felheart went from Lustria and was now positioned over by Ind whenever Ind gets added, because there's potential we might get a faction. Like, I know we've never seen Cathay before, but Ind has even less lore than Cathay. So there could be potential for Ind being added to the game, which would just be unbelievably cool to see. because they added the vampire counts, and I don't think anybody was expecting, or not vampire counts, vampire coast. And I don't think anybody was expecting them to add the vampire coast to the game. So they could be trying to wait until they get the whole world together. Then they might try to clear out some of the higher populated areas, and then they might go back and add some of the factions like Araby, Amazonians, stuff like that. You've also got Albion, which doesn't have its faction yet. I'm pretty sure there's just a bunch of giants, and I guess it's humans too. But there's a lot of interesting potential that we've got going on here. So let's just watch this trailer again really quickly, because it's one of those trailers that you watch and you get hyped up. You just get hyped the fuck up.
No door can keep it from us. And summer yet may bloom again. Though eyes be upon us.
So those are some Kislev archers, it looks like. You can tell by the quiver that's on their hips. And then you got some spearmen, some pole arms. And then you got the Tsarina. I mean, just look at that ground.
The sacrifice I made was not enough. The dark gods still feed on our transgressions. Corruption.
I've said this enough times, but Nurgle is disgusting. Slanesh, scintillating scion of Slanesh. Tzitz. Korn.
You must face these demons.
There we go. Those are the archers. That's some sort of general. We're gonna assume that's an agent for now, or a general. Obviously you got polar bear cavalry, regular cavalry. I wonder how they're gonna be stacked up compared to the Empire. Chaos cavalry. I mean, this is gonna be an absolutely insane. Alright, that's a unit, two-handed weapons. A unit with shields, so that's technically a different unit. They look the same though, so it's probably great weapons versus normal placement. Looks like a greater demon. I'm not actually sure on the terminology. I'm not that big into Warhammer fantasy lore, so I don't know the most about it, but I know Total War Warhammer. Yeah, so it's going to be called the Lore of Ice. I've heard somebody confirm that in one of my comments, or in the comments on one of my videos, so that's what we got to look forward to. There's just so much here that's going to be crazy. You get Warhammer 3, and then let's take it a step further. You get the guy, he shows you the map, you get to see Grand Cathay. So I'm just going to pause really quick here. So you can see this is Kislev, obviously. This is Chaos. That's Cathay. Green Dragon. You see it says Grand Cathay. We're honestly in a position where I don't really know a lot about Cathay and what's going to be happening. I think a lot of people are surprised, and not surprised that it was added, but more surprised to see what it's going to look like. We're excited to see what this faction could look like given its potential. So that's something that everybody's been talking about recently. So I think they're going to be more like Snitch than a lot of people think. Alright, so that's that. And that wraps up the two games that I was the most excited for. Because obviously you've got Mass Effect, Legendary Edition, and Warhammer 3. Both of those things I've uploaded on my channel already. I've played Mass Effect 1 through 3. I don't think I uploaded the third Mass Effect, but I uploaded Mass Effect 1's playthrough, Mass Effect 2's playthrough, except for like the final 2 episodes. And I was meaning to upload them. I just actually got into live streaming, so I figured I'd go back and live stream them then, instead of just uploading playthroughs. But that's not the only gaming news that's happened today. So if you've been playing Call of Duty for a while like I have, you've probably picked up some fandom for the Zombie series. So Call of Duty Zombies started all the way back in World at War. And I've heard Optic Chicago, not to throw them under the bus, but I've heard them not actually know what year or what war World at War was fought in. And it's just kind of funny that they don't realize it's World War II, because all you have to do is remember that zombies started as Nazi zombies. So that kind of tells you what war it was. Zombies has changed so much since then because the time period has never stayed in World War II. So frequently you'll get, like in, Black Ops, you'll get Kino der Toten. And I don't know if it's the same type of thing, but zombies has changed in many different iterations, many new styles. I believe in the first 2 games that it had, World at War and Black Ops, there wasn't really an emphasis on construction. But by the time you get to Black Ops 2, there's a heavy emphasis on construction and building weapons and stuff like that. Obviously, there was always the gun box, which could always give you a legendary weapon for that map, like the ray gun, the Wonder Waffle, stuff like that. I think there's one more. Thunder can't... Oh my god, what's the fucking one that shoots off the giant... I'll remember it at some point. But what I'm trying to get to here is that if you've been playing the game in Call of Duty Cold War, there's been somewhat of a lack of content to play with. Because it's to me, it feels like it's been the longest time since we got the base map until we got the second zombies map. But this week, on Thursday, the map was released to everybody, and as of the recording on Friday, the Easter egg has gone live for the people like Noah J, who like to go ahead and go get those Easter eggs before anybody else, which is just incredibly awesome to see, because now we've actually got something else to do. My friend Graham and I, we like to play zombies a lot, and when zombies... Let me just put it like this. When zombies is one map, and that map isn't that interesting, it gets really, really boring to continue to play. Like, you don't want to go to a high level because there's ultimately nothing to do after a certain point. And it really gets disheartening. So, now that they've got a new map, it's going to be interesting. And I just kind of want to show you guys that trailer really quick. I haven't watched this one before, so this is going to be a pure reaction to it. I wanted to hop into zombies kind of with a fresh mind today, so it looks like it's going to be absolutely awesome. So, we're going to pull this one up, play through it, and be done.
Weaver, I'm still in the field. I have to meet a contact.
I am not proud of everything
tropical.
I have done, but I am proud of what I am doing. Omega must be stopped. No matter the personal cost to people like you and I.
No, my friend. They are the ones who are going to pay.
They have already opened their new worlds.
Oh, man.
Ravenov, my team's reached the village.
There we go. Songs leading. That's what I like to see.
Welcome to Vietnam.
Vietnam? Oh, shit. Okay.
We have to get out of here now.
On the move.
This looks so cool. Okay, we got a new beast to fight. Let's go.
I'd pick up the pace if I were you, for Max's sake.
Holy shit, this looks so cool. Yeah. Ooh! Yeah, so that's kind of like the nuke generator on Goran Krabi. Yeah, that's the dude from Goran Krabi, alright. Whoa.
If you're lying to me, if you betrayed her, if any harm comes to her, I will kill you myself.
Holy shit. Holy shit, that's badass. Okay, so we got that coming out, so I'll be playing that later today. I can't really comment on how it is compared to the rest of Zombies, because I played the base Zombies map. I had a lot of fun playing it, but I still haven't tried Firebase Z yet. I was waiting to play it with my friend, so he's going to be hopping on today. I can give basically more in-depth info on it later. And yeah, just to round out this news, there's a few different things that I've heard that I haven't looked all that much into, but I figured it's important for me to say. So apparently Blizzard is going to be focusing more on releasing mobile games for World of Warcraft. They've got a few in the chamber already, so they're the company, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here, who does Diablo? I'm pretty sure it's Blizzard, right? I think it's StarCraft. Let's see. Who is in charge of Diablo? Because there was this whole thing a few years ago with Diablo Immortal, Warcraft, Diablo, StarCraft, and Overwatch. So I was correct. So there was this whole thing a few years ago where the devs announced the game, I believe it was at an E3, and then everybody started booing because it's a mobile game. Nobody wants to play a mobile game, let alone a free-to-play mobile game. That's obviously just a cash grab by a company this big. Just give us a good quality game. Even if you release it on a mobile platform like Fortnite, you can at least give us a good quality game. I mean, Fortnite's free-to-play, but the difference between Fortnite and all those other games is Fortnite really got blown up because it was cross-compatible between consoles, PC, and phones. Like, there is the ability to play between all of them, so ultimately it being free-to-play is just to get a larger number of players. Whereas a lot of these games that are strictly mobile-based are to get a lot of players and then to try to monetize those players, which nobody is excited about. So Blizzard kind of messed up there. I don't think they're targeting their products towards anybody specific anymore. They should be working on improving the quality of World of Warcraft and their other successful titles. Like Overwatch League, I know needs a bunch of work. I'm not huge into Overwatch League, but I've heard Overwatch pros complain about it and stuff like that. Another thing that's happened recently is Amazon has apparently spent a lot of money in gaming and doesn't have much to show for it. I think it was Crucible. That was their battle royale that they launched. And I saw a few content creators playing it. I saw people from 100 Thieves playing it. They basically played it for like 2 days, and then it was gone. It was just out. They actually released it into beta. I think it was beta, or was it a full release? They released it, then they unreleased it. So it's really a rough position to be in as a company if you're releasing a product and then it's in such a bad state that you have to unrelease it. Like, that really indicates that you didn't understand your target audience, you didn't actually get your target audience interested, and you needed to go back and rework a bunch of the fundamental mechanics of the game. I.e. something that should probably happen with Cyberpunk, but they're not going to unrelease that. They're just going to patch it and make it a live action or live service title, or whatever the hell that freaking thing is. I mean, I just don't even know. Oh, speaking of Cyberpunk, this week there's actually been some other big news. So apparently the modding tools that are available for creating mods for Cyberpunk actually allow you to get, I'm not going to say root level access to your PC, but you can basically hack into somebody's PC if they download a mod that you've created and you have such lines of code put in there. Like, you can actually hack into other people's devices by them downloading the mods that you give them. And this was discovered this week, and I haven't heard any news on it being fixed, but it's just another bump in the road of a company that's trying to recover after they got absolutely annihilated after the release of their game. Rightfully so. I mean, you restrict reviewers from actually using their own footage, then you release an apology saying you didn't expect anything like this to happen, then why did you refuse to let people use their own review footage showing all the bugs and glitches that were existing in the game? I played on PC, which is the best platform to play it on, and even still it had a bunch of bugs that made the experience horrible. Quests didn't work, textures didn't load, cars drove off with other cars on top of them, I got launched 1,000 feet in the air like I got hit by a giant in Skyrim. I mean, there's just a bunch of stuff that when you look back on it, they should have known that it would be a problem, and the things that they've done since launch have really eroded my faith. Like, the launch was already bad enough, but a lot of the decisions they've made since have eroded my faith that they'll be able to rectify these mistakes. And yeah, the final news that I've got to share with everybody is everybody's favorite up-and-coming gaming system, Stadia, is apparently getting rid of its first-party productions.
Stadia?
And when I say first-party, what I mean is they're getting rid...
Newest, most logic-defying, mind-bending, absurd gaming platform on Earth. Look at
most mind-bending, absurd gaming platform on Earth that has absolutely zero first-party titles coming to it. What does that mean? That means in-house Google is no longer developing games that would be exclusive for Stadia. So ultimately, there is no incentive for somebody who's already invested in an Xbox or PlayStation or PC platform to switch over to Stadia, because you would then have to rebuy your games on a service when they're only offering third-party titles and they're not offering any first-party exclusives. So if you think about the biggest knock on Xbox in the last generation, it was a lack of exclusives. So if Xbox doesn't have enough exclusives, but you have to then go rebuy all the products you've already bought on Stadia, what is the incentive to go to a different platform like Stadia? If Microsoft now has exclusive IP with Bethesda, you've got PlayStation who has God of War, Killzone, there's so many things with PlayStation. And the Xbox has made big acquisitions recently. And then you've also got the PC platform. Why would I, as somebody who's already invested money into whatever my chosen platform is, switch up to another platform if there's not going to be anything exclusive to that platform? Especially considering Google has an insanely high track record of just icing products that aren't as widely accepted. Google Glass, everybody refers to. There's a lot of stuff surrounding Google that when they cut bait, they cut bait. And everybody's been expecting that to happen with this game, with this service. And it's been a year of them, or a year and a half of them basically trying to push it, keep it alive. But the writing's on the wall at this point. Google realizes that they're not going to create any first-party titles. So there is a real chance that at some point soon, Google is basically going to take it upon themselves to say, okay, we're shutting this all down. We're winding down everything. And we're basically going to be reversing course on this. And there's been some potential talk about them partnering with other companies and licensing out the tech, because the tech itself is actually impressive. They just didn't market it correctly. So it could be a situation where Xbox would pick it up. I could see them doing that. I don't think Sony would pick it up anytime soon, because Sony is different than Microsoft. Microsoft is bigger than Sony. So Microsoft could, in theory, take that and add it to their gaming system and benefit from it, because they want people on phones, consoles, and PCs, whereas Sony is more reliant on people buying a PlayStation 5. They don't release a lot of their games for PCs. So it wouldn't make a lot of sense for Sony to invest in it, although if they wanted to diversify, then they would. But it is what it is, man. There's just a bunch of stuff going on in gaming news this week. This is just a small little taste. That's all I've basically had come across my feeds and across my desk, if you will. So we'll be getting at it next week. I'll let you guys know any updates that happen with Warhammer and Mass Effect, since obviously I'm really up to date on those. And then you've got certain games like Call of Duty Cold War adding some more content to it. I don't think there's going to ever be enough content to get me back into Cold War. I'm a quick scoper, and if I can't quick scope, I'm just not going to be interested in the game. So that's basically where I'm going to leave it there. So I'm going to be starting up a Warzone stream here in a bit with my cousin, so there's not much more left for me to say. I've got to go switch over, get ready for that, and have some fun gaming, because this ends the news portion of my stuff. As you can see, Stadia, almighty, all-powerful, all devices, and all down to having third-party developers actually release the product on their platform. So, yeah, it's just one of those things where I feel bad at the end of the day. You feel bad for the devs, the people who worked for it, people who worked really hard on it, but there's not much more left that you can say. There's not much more left that you can do about it. It is what it is. It's what happened. And, yeah, you gotta feel a little bit upset. You gotta feel a little bit sad for those people, but it's what everybody expected. They're creating a product that didn't really have a need to exist anyway. Like, that's what's gonna happen. The market reacted, and the market did not react in a kind way. So, I'll see you guys next time. There's nothing more really to say on this topic. It's a failed product from Google. Not that every product from Google has failed, but this one definitely, it wasn't gonna do well. So, I'll see you guys next time. We're out of here. There's not much more left for me to say. Hope you had a great day and enjoyed this content. I'm out of here. Peace.